Hi, welcome and or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kiana, and earlier this year I started a new series on this channel where I am attempting to read every single book on my physical TBR. My only rule is that I am not allowed to buy any other books while I'm doing this. I literally need to complete all the books that I have on my physical TBR. There are no exceptions. Actually, that's a lie. There is one exception to the rule. If there is a new release that is coming out that I have been highly anticipating, I will allow myself to purchase that book. However, in the last few weeks, I haven't had any new releases come out, and so we've been steadily moving along with our physical TBR. I believe I started at 27 physical books, and now I am at 21, I believe. Yeah, I'm at 21 physical books overall, and for this video I'm very excited because I'm going to be doing a little challenge. I think I've done a couple of reading vlogs documenting my time reading through my physical TBR, but now I want to implement a challenge so that I'll pick out a book that maybe I wouldn't automatically reach for on the first try. I think that's the issue I have, is I become so overwhelmed with all the books that I have on my physical TBR that I am just like picking the newest book that I just purchased off the shelf, and so I really want to dive into books that maybe I've just been avoiding, unknowingly, subconsciously avoiding. I'm going to be reading the lowest rated book and the highest rated book on my physical TBR as per GoodReads rating, and I've already done the calculations. I already know what the lowest rated book is and the highest rated book is. However, I'm going to keep the second one a secret because we will be starting off with reading the lowest rated book on my TBR. Okay, so then we will be starting off by reading Just Our Luck by Denise Williams. This has an overall average rating of 3.44 stars on GoodReads with a total number of 5,776 reviews. This is also a gift from Berkeley Romance, so thank you so much, Berkeley Romance, for sending me the advanced reader copy of this book. I believe it already came out. I'll put it on the screen of when the release date was, but I did get this a few months ago, and it's just been, again, sitting on my physical TBR, and so I'm actually really excited to get to it. Regardless of its overall rating, I find myself not really matching or aligning a lot with GoodReads ratings. It really just depends, but I think it's a fun way of kind of like bouncing around different ideas of how, you know, to approach books. I don't even really look at ratings even anymore because I, again, just don't really align with them, and I feel like it could put either such a positive or negative connotation in your head, and then you're left either being disappointed in a book or you avoid a book for no reason and then you end up loving it. I already started this last night and I got 54 pages in. It is a very quick read so far, but I feel like the first 50 pages really gave me a really great idea of what this book is about. So an overall synopsis so far is that we are following a girl named Sybil, and she literally just doesn't have good luck. I know that the name of the book is Just Our Luck, but like, she just doesn't have good luck. In the very beginning of the book, she finds a lucky penny and she's like, this has to be my lucky day. I'm going to get the promotion. I'm going to go on this wonderful date. Turns out she gets fired from her job that day and the date doesn't show up. And then we have Kieran, who is a donut shop worker, but he's also a medical student. He's just helping out his granddad who raised him with this medical shop because his granddad is going through some medical things in his life that are prohibiting him from running the shop thoroughly. And so Kieran and his sister have been helping out in the meantime. And so he's put a hold on his medical school for that reason. And the donut shop just isn't doing too well. One thing leads to another and they end up encountering each other at the donut shop, and they have, you know, a little bit of a meeting there, but then they realize that they had met prior in an encounter that leaves Kieran with a bad taste in his mouth. However, when you reverse back into the night, Sybil had bought a lottery ticket when she was out with her friends because she was just kind of like mourning the day that she had and the unfortunate events that had been leading up in her life. So she got a lottery ticket because she had a couple of drinks, and she left it with Kieran when she left him that night, just as a little like, thank you, here you go, hopefully you find some luck as well. Earlier that day, Kieran had also found a lucky penny, but he just also did not feel like his life was going in that direction, and now he has woken up and the lottery ticket is revealing a lot of things in his life, and now that is where we're at. The lottery ticket has done its thing. It is actually very adorable so far. I'm very much liking it. I think the only qualm I'm having so far is that Sybil's character is super unlucky, and I am finding it to be almost a little bit immature how she is approaching certain things. But again, we're only 50 pages into the book, so I'm really hoping for some growth from both characters as they now find their way together and in their relationship. So hopefully we can start seeing some more like maturity and growing from learning all the things that are happening. I think some of it truly is just, it's unlucky things that are happening to her, but I also was getting a little frustrated and annoyed because I was like, I feel like you could have been a little more proactive or preventative in some of these things that have been happening to you. I don't know if there's so much happening to you or you're just like letting them happen because of your actions, but we will see. You guys will see. I'll let you guys know, but that is where we're starting off with our read of Just Our Luck by Denise Williams. I am not gonna lie, it's been a couple of days, literally just like 2 days, but I got this weird 24-hour like illness and I'm still kind of like getting my voice keeps kind of going in and out. So I just had a cough drop, so now it's in a little bit, but not fully. Whatever. There haven't been too many updates though. I just got to page 130 in Just Our Luck last night, and I'm very hesitant to say this because I don't like dissing on books, especially so early on, but I'm not enjoying it anymore. I think the first like 30 to 40 pages were really promising, but now we've just gotten to a point where I'm like, girl, what? Like, and I think I'm gonna keep pushing through. I know this sounds like I should probably DNF it. I'm not usually a person that DNFs books, and not to say that like I shouldn't or should, or I'm dissing people that do. Just for some reason there's something in my head and my brain, and like I just can't do it for some reason. I feel like I always have to see it through, either as like, I don't know what it is. I always finish books. I don't think I've ever DNF'd a book, which is crazy, but Sybil is a pain in my ass. And she is like so type B and I'm so type A. He's just being an asshole. There were elements that were really pulling me in though, and I thought were going to again be promising, but now it's turning into a, if this doesn't turn around here like soon, I'm going to get very frustrated, and this might be like my first DNF. I don't want to say that too soon because again, my personality, I have like never DNF'd a book and I really do want to push through. I want to see if there's any growth. I also am just curious onto where this could possibly go. I don't know. I genuinely don't know where this could go at this point, so oh, I really wanted to like this. I thought this was so cute. Like the cover is so cute. This could be for some people. Maybe you feel seen in Sybil, and I'm so sorry if I'm offending you. I really don't mean to offend anyone. It's just there's just a lot of like she's grown. She's a grown adult, and these decisions that are being made, it's like she just, I don't know. You just have to read it to find out. I cannot. I just can't. I'll keep you posted. I'm gonna try to read a little bit more tonight and get a better sense. I don't want to waste too much time on it because I think the point of DNFing, from what I've seen from creators that are trying to not like encourage, but kind of like normalize, I guess, with DNFing, is that you just like don't want to quote unquote waste your time if it's just not your vibe. You just need to, life is too short, like you just need to read books that you are enjoying. And I also don't want to harp on this story or this author too much because of course they took the time to write this, they found passion and loved it so much to publish it, so I don't want to like, that's just like rude too. But I will keep you guys posted though. I'm gonna try to read a little bit more tonight and see how I'm feeling about it later, and yeah, I'll let you know. I'll let you know what my thoughts are after that and what I'm gonna decide to do moving forward with this book. Hello, happy Friday. Today I had a half day at work because there were some doctor appointment situations in the latter half of the day, and so I have been reading Just Our Luck on and off. I've decided to push through with it because it is such an easy read and I'm kind of almost done. Like if I just set my mind to it, I can finish this tonight. It is 9 o'clock at night, but I think, like I said, it's such an easy read. I think I can just like blow through the rest of this book. I'm just not somebody that can DNF a book, and I wish I were, and I could be one day. I do believe in it, but I feel like I have to see this through because I think there are such small elements of this book that are good, and I do want to see if the author can prove me wrong and these characters that I'm being frustrated with can grow. Like, I want to see that happen very badly. So far, I'm on chapter 35, page like 268, and it's still just a little dull for me. It's just falling flat. I will say our female main character has gotten a little better, but a lot of the things that are happening are kind of happening off page, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like we're being told some things rather than being shown them for the most part. Hopefully we'll see some more improvements. Our main male character is also showing a little bit of growth, but it's just a little cringy and again falling flat for me, so we'll see. I'm still gonna push through. I want to give it I want to give it an opportunity. I want to give it a full send try. So I'm gonna continue reading it and see where we end up. But that's where we're at now. So I'll let you guys know if I get through that tonight. I'm so sorry. I know I said I was just going to continue reading this, but this is so frustrating. Oh, and I just had that whole spiel about how I really wanted to pull through. This is so sad. This is very disappointing, and I hate this. I hate this feeling. This is like the worst. Oh, this is the worst. Okay. I don't know. Okay. I'm just kind of ranting at this point. I need to just continue on. Okay. Oh my God. Okay. Hold on. Sorry, it's late and my voice is shot, so I apologize if my voice is very scratchy and annoying right now, but I am going to keep this very brief and to the point because while I do think that as people who consume books and book content and review books, we should be as honest as possible, and it's completely okay to not like a book and list the reasons why you don't like a book. I just don't feel that it's respectful to completely, at least for myself, I just don't feel like it's morally right to harp on a book so hard publicly. With that being said, I just finished Just Our Luck, and as you can tell by some of the clips right before this, I am very frustrated with it. I think I'm gonna give it, oh my gosh, I feel so bad. I feel so bad, actually. I don't know. Guys, I'm just like trying to gather my thoughts because again, I don't want to just sit here and rant about it. However, this story was just not cohesive. I told you guys what the synopsis of the book was when I first started reading it. It's just these two that discover each other. He works at a donut shop. She is just wild spirit, free spirit woman, and they run into each other at the donut shop. She had just bought a lottery ticket. She leaves the lottery ticket there after a night encounter, and then the lottery ticket ends up being a winning ticket, and so they come back together, and then it becomes a fake dating scenario. That's the gist of it. This is a fake dating romance. It involves donuts and it involves the lottery ticket. And both of them need money. He needs money for his donut shop and his grandpa, who is in poor health. And he's also taking a break from medical school. She needs the money because she hasn't really done anything with her life. She bounces around from different jobs. She's considered irresponsible in her family. And she just doesn't really have like a passion or a motive towards anything in her life. So it is extremely frustrating, and I think the decisions of our female main character, Sybil, are some of the most frustrating decisions I've ever seen from a female main character, and I don't understand how the last two things that she did, like 70% into the book and then about like 95% into the book, are even forgivable for our main male character. However, Kieran, our main male character, is also really annoying because he's just such a nothing sandwich. Like, there's nothing to Kieran. Sorry. There's nothing to him. He's such like a dull character. Our side characters, every single side character provided so much more to the story than our two main characters, which is so bizarre to me. Like, I liked all of our side characters. They all had growth. They were all kind of normal, kind of funny. Like, I didn't really hate any of them. I can't stand these two. Oh my gosh. And there is something that happens, like everything is like being resolved in the last 10 pages. Doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. I will say I'm gonna give this book a little more, probably a 2-star. I think I'm gonna settle on a 2-star. You guys are just like watching my thought process as this is all happening in real time. I think I'm gonna give it a 2-star because again, I really like the side characters, didn't have an issue with them. And I think that the author had good intentions, of course, but I think they had really good intentions with their ethics and where they wanted their characters to stand. They're really into philanthropy and they had really good just like outlooks and politics, it seemed like. And so I appreciate that for what it was. They seemed like kind people, at least. I think. At least Sybil did. I don't know. But I don't know. But this is so sad and so disappointing. I was really hoping to be surprised in a better way by this book, but unfortunately, this is going to end up being one of my most disappointing reads this year. So I feel so bad about that, but I'm literally going to lose my voice, and so I think I'm going to wrap up this part of the clip before I make anyone else click off of the video. However, if I have any more thoughts, I will share them later on in the video, but I am crossing my fingers that my highest rated book on my TBR will be better. It is now the next day and it has been quite the Saturday. We went to the mountain this morning to snowboard. It took us about like 5 hours to get there, which was absolute insanity. We did get a few runs in, but now we're back. We're settled in. It's 6:30 and I am ready to pick out my highest rated book as per GoodReads ratings on my physical TBR. I don't know if you guys want to take a wild guess before I pull it out. Drum roll, please. The next book that I'll be reading, which is also the highest rated on my physical TBR, will also be the longest book on my TBR, which is The Will of the Many. James Islington, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And I actually don't really know much about this book. I've just been seeing it everywhere and I was really in the mood for a thick, obviously very thick fantasy, and it so happens to be the highest GoodReads rated book on my TBR. This book came out in 2023 and out of the 221,330 ratings, it's sitting at an overall rating of 4.59 stars, which I think is actually pretty crazy. And what intimidates me the most, besides how long and thick this book is that it is a series. The second book in the series actually released, I believe recently, because I've been seeing the hardcover of it on the shelves at Barnes & Noble for a few months now. And so I have quite the adventure ahead of me if I end up liking this book, which I am slightly confident that I will, but I think that's the exciting part about this video, is that I'll be able to see if the ratings for these books correlate with maybe how I feel, because just because a book is rated highly on GoodReads doesn't mean that I will love it. But I am very excited to get into this. I've been wanting to read it, but I've been putting it off for a little bit now, mostly because of how chunky this guy is, but I'm very excited. I will let you guys know when I get a little bit more into it what the synopsis of the story is. However, I do know that we have somebody that is going to school potentially somewhere that is not supposed to be there. They're secretly there. They're actually a part of a different society, but they're trying to infiltrate this other society because it did them dirty, them and their family dirty, I believe. That's such a chaotic synopsis, but I believe that's what it's about. Let me see how many pages it is actually without spoiling anything. Almost 700 pages. This might be one of the biggest books that I've read in a while because I haven't really, besides Wild Reverence that I just read, that was only around 500 pages. I think that was the most recent longer fantasy book that I have read. So this might take me a minute to read. I think I have a busy week ahead of me as well with work and stuff, so we'll see. But again, I'm very excited to get into this, so here we go. just got to page 42, chapter 5 of The Will of the Many. I didn't read that much last night because I was honestly just so exhausted that I could not even focus, but I'm just now getting into it and it is already extremely addicting. The writing is so good. It is very long though, so it's taken me a minute to get through it. Like I said, I'm only on page 42, but I am planning to just continue binging this for the rest of the day because I am very intrigued with where we are going. Like I was mentioning yesterday before I started this book, is I don't really know too much about it, but right now what we do know is that we are following our main character Vis. I believe that's how you pronounce it, V-I-S. He is living within the Katanin Republic, and it seems that at some point they had taken over this society that we're living within, and it's a little complicated how they're explaining it because they haven't actually like detailed or explained anything, but we do know that there are different hierarchies within the society and there are different ranks, social rankings, and he is at like the bottom tier. He is an orphan in this society. However, they did kind of drop a little fact about him that he was a prince in his past. I don't believe anyone in this society knows who he is though. He works at the prison. Doesn't seem like anyone really knows who he is there. He is very much hiding and keeping on the DL with everyone that he knows. He doesn't want to attract that much attention. That's like very much a main point of this plot, is that he is trying to stay as low as possible but kind of like find his way through whatever this society is. And he's also a fighter, so he goes to some underground fighting rings to earn money, and this is where we kind of see a little bit more about the different rankings and how they play kind of a role in society. But that's kind of what I've pieced together so far. I'm still trying to like follow along and figure out what all of this means, but it seems very complex and like a lot of world building right now, and so I will just keep trying to figure it out along the way. But I am very much enjoying it. I'm very intrigued to continue piecing together all of this and this entire world and figuring out what our purpose of following Vis is. He seems like a pretty complex character, and yeah, I haven't read like a fantasy like this in a while, especially one with writing that is so addicting. So I'm really excited to get into it. Like I miss fantasy like this with the world building, and it feels very unique so far. Like I think a lot of the fantasy I've read most recently is a lot of romantasy, which is fun and fine and I love it, but I really have been craving like a unique plot and something with a ton of world building, and this is what this is giving me now. So very much into it. I will keep you guys posted as I find out more, but no spoilers because obviously not. We don't do spoilers in this household. I almost just left out something that was very important to the plot too, actually, is that there are people underground in the prison that become sappers, S-A-P-P-E-R-S, and essentially they have to give up their will. We're learning more about like giving up the will of yourself to other people like that are higher in society, and it's essentially they give all their energy to other people, and it's if they are like the highest ranking criminals, or I think like if you're just in a very low class, you end up giving up your will at some point, like you just like have to. And we do know that Vis has been able to kind of finagle his way out of that so far, because I believe at some point in your childhood or like in your later teen years, you're supposed to, it's kind of like a religion, what it seems like, is you're supposed to kind of like say or like give your will up, and then at some point in your life like you do have to do that, like you like all the energy gets sucked out of you, but you don't die. You're like in this weird like sleep state where you're literally just giving all of your energy and yourself to these higher ups so that they can have more power, is what I've gathered from it so far. So again, very unique concept and definitely something different, but it feels almost like dystopian because obviously it's like fantasy and this isn't happening, and probably, hopefully, knock on wood, will never happen, but it's very much giving like those themes of social classes and stuff like that, and like tying it into kind of how just like society works, period, where like lower classes give so much to higher classes and they really just like don't have a choice about it. So yeah, again, very much liking it. So I'll keep you guys posted on how this progresses. few days. Honestly, probably a handful of days since I've updated you guys, and that is simply because I have not had the opportunity to read a ton. This book, The Will of the Many, is super dense and it's really long. So I just got to page 300 out of like 675 or something like that. So it's taken me a while to get through, but I also had a really busy like work week and stuff. And so I'm going to plan to spend most of this weekend trying to complete it, but this like longer half is like what I have left. I still have most of tonight to try to get through it, but I started reading earlier, took some clips of that, and then I fell asleep. Like I was so tired after work that I just like fully passed out in this chair. So that's where my mental state is right now, but I am really enjoying this. Like this is such a unique, to me at least, concept, and I am loving this kind of fantasy. It's something that I was not expecting going into this. I thought it would be a little more sci-fi, which I can see it going the sci-fi route later on in the series potentially. But I feel like I think, see, it's been so long since I filmed. I think I gave you guys kind of a brief overview of what the beginning of this book was, but I'll give you guys just a kind of synopsis of what I've read so far, kind of where we're at in the story, but I don't want to give any spoilers, so it'll be extremely high level. So we know we have Vis, the main character, and we know that he has an unknown background to everyone. He's hiding something about his past. He used to be in a prestigious role. He was a prince at one point. We don't technically know what happened to his parents and his families, but we do know that when the hierarchy in this world rose to what they are now, he was taken from his family. His parents had died, and he's been hiding his identity ever since. He was living as an orphan and just getting by day to day. And since then, he met a senator, somebody who is really high up in the hierarchy, who decided to adopt him, which is not super uncommon. It is for somebody Vis's age. However, it is not uncommon for somebody like that to adopt people in order to put them through this system. And the system is essentially a school, and it's called the Academy, and it's where they send all these prestigious elite, like upcoming people in the hierarchy to go compete. And then you have to like, it's like a pyramid, so there's like different rankings. It starts at like class 7, then you go to 6, 5, 4, 3. Okay, I think it's, what is happening? What is going on? Are we focused now? No, we're not. Hopefully this stays in focus. I don't know what was wrong with my camera there. So sorry. But they essentially send whoever they adopt, like most of the time they have their own children, but in some cases they do adopt because they want to try to get their name higher up, and so they feel like they have better chances if they adopt a kid that maybe has more skills and knowledge than their own children. Anyways, Vis is going there to infiltrate the system. Actually, he's going there as essentially a spy for his now father to figure out a mystery behind a murder that happened there. And there's so many other things that actually have to do with the magic system that he's trying to figure out and navigate, and it's really, it has not been easy for him. We just are kind of getting into the depths of him attending this school and what that is like for him. And it is difficult for a lot of reasons that I just feel like are a little bit spoilery, so I won't explain. But that is essentially the premise of this first book. I think that's where a majority of where we're going to be hanging out is. So what is on the back of this book I just read, and what is on the back of this book is essentially the first 300 pages. And then after that, I'm not sure what's going to happen. I'm assuming we're just going to stay at the school and continue to watch or read about Vis working his way up, building these connections and finding out all the mysteries that he needs to. And I feel like there's a lot to uncover. There are so many people that you meet, so many names and places and different types of like religions and part of the magic system and the will that we're continuing to learn about and unfold, which is super exciting, but it is so much world building. And I think that's why it's also taken me so long, is because I'm trying to process all of it and understand it. And I think to some degree, it's also something where like I will read something and I'm like, do I need to know this or understand how like the will process works? Because sometimes I feel like I do get it, and then they'll mention something and I'm like, oh, that doesn't really make sense to me. But I feel like it's something where like if it's important, it'll come back and they'll keep referring to it, which the author has done that so far. So I feel confident that I understand for the most part like what this world is like and what we're doing. And then if I get confused, like it'll probably be brought back up and explained more in depth later. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at in the story. Just wanted to update you guys now that I am almost halfway. And I'll let you guys know when I am a little more of the ways through how I'm feeling. I probably won't give you guys any more updates on like super what the plot is because I don't want any spoilers to be in this video. This is a spoiler-free vlog. However, my plan, my goal is to finish this by Sunday night, but it's already Friday night and I have so much more to go, so we will see. I'll keep you posted as usual. It's the next day. I'm in the same outfit, in the same spot, but I promise it's the next day. Okay. Let's finish this book. Hello. Okay, so it's still Sunday. It's still the same day. I just changed my sweatshirt because I don't know if you guys ever get the feeling, but sometimes I get very overwhelmed when I'm in specific clothing, and I was starting to get like overwhelmed in that crew neck that I had on, so I changed into a hoodie. However, I just wanted to update you guys that I am pretty much dedicating this entire day to finishing The Will of the Many. I think I've read just about 100 pages already today. It is 2:45 and I have now about 68 pages left, and when I say so much has happened in this book, like I always hate when books are super long and there's just a ton of unnecessary filler in it. Like I think there are things that can be deemed as filler but are still like technically important or like at least adding to the plot, and there have been like slower moments throughout this book. I mean, it's almost 700 pages, so obviously it's not going to be completely jam-packed with like action the whole time. However, we've gone through so many different phases and we've quite literally been following our main character like right by his side this entire time through his journey. It's been like over a year and a half now, I believe, from my understanding, and so much has happened. Like there's like, I can't remember where I was just at because my clip got cut off because my SD card is full. However, what I was pretty much getting to the point of is that this book, like I cannot, beyond what the synopsis of what I've already told you is, I can't really explain any much more without it getting extremely spoilery. However, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out once I finish the book and I can like fully gather all my thoughts about it, but it is so beyond what I had anticipated the book was going to be. It feels a lot like a mystery. It's still obviously fantasy and has like fantasy aspects, but there is this like mystery that we've been unfolding this whole time. Just pretty much the mystery is like how this world works and how it came to be, and essentially like this hierarchy took over what the world was before, which we don't even really have like an explanation about what the they call it like the cataclysm, whatever. But we do know that there are so many other forces at play right now of people just trying to achieve these high, powerful positions just to pretty much continue to gain more power. And it feels very relevant and almost dystopian rather than fantasy in that aspect, because a lot of the things that they explain and talk about in their social like hierarchies and social environments and political environments feel very reflective of like just the world and the like how we've also come to be as a society and as like not even just like the United States as like a nation, but just the world and how we treat people of different socioeconomic like rankings. So it is very interesting, but yeah, I don't know. My mind is just like, I was like thinking about where we are in the book right now. And I was just like, how did we even get to this point? Like, that is so crazy. I would have never guessed that this book took this direction from where it started, if that makes sense. But that's where I'm at right now. I'll let you guys know my thoughts later. It has been a few, probably like a handful of hours at this point, and I think I have finally decided on what I'm going to be rating The Will of the Many. Now that I've sat on it, I've been thinking about it pretty much this entire time. I was like Googling it, looking up like Reddit theories and Reddit links and everything to just all the questions that I had and all the theories that I'm already forming in my mind. I'm just so incredibly like just in this novel, in this book. I am just absolutely I can't even like put into words right now like how I'm feeling. This is going to be a 5-star read for me. This is so incredibly exciting. I was trying not to get my hopes up too much for it, but I kept seeing so many people rate it so highly, of course, with the whole concept of this video being reading, you know, my highest rated book and my lowest rated book on my physical TBR as per GoodReads rating. It comes with some expectations, but I was really trying to not set that as much in my brain so that I kind of let myself, you know, obviously rate it how I personally feel. However, this video, it just kind of spoke for itself. Like, unfortunately, Just Our Luck was just not a book that I personally connected with, but The Will of the Many, I absolutely fell in love with. Like, I purposefully spent this weekend binge reading it for a few reasons. One, I was just absolutely obsessed with it. Two, I have a really busy week ahead of me, and so I wanted to get ahead of myself and finish it before I started going into this work week because I knew I wasn't going to have that much time to read it anyways. But I am so happy that I did, and it was incredibly easy to do. I thought it would take me much longer to read, but today I just woke up. It was the first thing that I thought of when I woke up, immediately started reading it this morning, and didn't put it down until I finished it, essentially. I think I took like one break to eat lunch and watch an episode of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and then after that I was just right back into it, and it is such a page turner. Like, personally, I didn't find much of it boring, like, at all. I thought everything was extremely relevant to the storyline and added context that was absolutely needed. I'm still a little confused on certain things. I did start picking up more of the concept of what will is and how they utilize will in their world. However, there were certain things once we started getting into the nitty-gritty of stuff in like the last like 25% of the book that I was like taking my time reading through because I was like, okay, this feels a little more complex. There's more people involved, more like political world building involved, and so that took me a little bit of time. I'm probably still going to go back, maybe watch some videos on it of other people maybe explaining their side, but I think a lot of it is going to be explained in the next book. I don't know how many books are set and planned for this series, but I feel like this author can take it so much further because there's just so much in it. And like I said earlier, I don't want to include any spoilers. Pretty much like this first like 200 pages is what's on the back of the book, and then after that is like anyone's guess. So I'm just not gonna like get too ahead of myself here, but it is, I actually don't know what it is technically. I'm pretty sure it's a fantasy, but towards the end it feels a little sci-fi dystopian in a lot of senses. It's still definitely a fantasy novel, but I don't know, it just had so many cool elements to it, and the ending blew my mind. I feel like I haven't been that taken aback by an ending of a book, let alone like a fantasy book, in a long time. I feel like for the most part, when there are, I wouldn't say it's like a twist ending, and I feel like it's a spoiler to say when there's a twist ending. It was just what it led up to, what our main character was heading towards. It just was unexpected, and I feel like sometimes as of recently, I've been able to kind of either tell where a book is going, or it just goes into a direction that is completely just like, what? Like, that's dumb. but this was everything. Like, I am so happy with this. I am totally in like my fantasy sci-fi like moment this year, because Project Hail Mary also gave me a very similar feeling to The Will of the Many. They're completely different books by all means. However, the feeling that I got while reading them and finishing these books is incredible. And I think what I'm kicking myself the most for is that with this series that I'm having of my physical TBR takedown, is that I'm like on a book buying ban. But the second book in this series was released, I'm pretty sure beginning of this year, late last year. I think it's like The Strength of the Few, or something like that, like The Strength of the Few. It's The Will of the Many and then The Strength of the Few. So I'm gonna have to find a way to get my hands on that eventually, because now I fear I might have almost maybe probably put myself into a slump now that I've just binged The Will of the Many and it's all that is consuming me now. So I really have to think that one through. It was everything. It is a 5-star read for me. I am so happy that I was able to read it in this video. And I guess the GoodReads reviews were really kind of on point for me, at least. I will say that doesn't always happen though. I think it just so happened to happen to me in this video, but I have read other books in the past that have been lower rated on GoodReads and I absolutely love them, and then I've read other books that were super hyped up and rated super highly and I did not love them at all. So I think it's always just going back to like how you feel and trusting your gut and everything. Like, I just don't think, I try not to look at ratings pretty much at all when I'm going into like books or trying to go buy them or anything. Like, sometimes I'll go look for like a few opinions just to see a general consensus, but for the most part I really try not to like have anybody else's opinions sway my thoughts of a book. But I thought that this was a fun little concept, like reading challenge that I could have done, and I got 2 books out of the way. So now I have 19 books left on my physical TBR, which is really cool. I'm into the teens now. I finished book 21 and book 20. Yay, this was so fun. Thank you guys so much for watching this video if you made it up until this point, and if you guys feel interested in reading either of these books, I do recommend that you try them out. I did like certain aspects of Just Our Luck, even though it wasn't personally my favorite. I think that it could be somebody's favorite. I think that there are aspects of it that are done really well, and it is a sweet, cute romance. And The Will of the Many, if you at all, I don't know, I'm recommending this to everyone. I don't care if you like fantasy or not. I know that this is kind of a beast to get through, but I don't know, maybe just download the audiobook. I hope that this inspires you to pick up one of these books, or maybe try this reading challenge yourself, pick up the lowest rated and the highest rated book on your physical TBR and give it a shot. But yeah, that'll do it for today. Thank you guys again so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.